Hello everyone, we've got a question 5 mechanics paper and it's a projectiles question. So quite a tricky question, this one. So it says a golf ball is at rest at a point O on a horizontal ground. The ball is hit and initially moves at an angle of alpha to the ground. The ball first hits the ground at a point B where AB is 120 meters as shown in figure 3. The motion of the ball is modelled as that of a particle moving freely under gravity, whose initial speed is u meters per second. Using the model, show that u squared sine alpha cos alpha equals 588, and it's worth 6 marks. Okay. Now, when you get in projectile questions, these kind of like show that kind of statements. The approach is you need to resolve horizontally, get an equation, resolve vertically, get another equation, and then very often you end up eliminating a variable, usually t, in order to get some kind of equation. So that's going to be our overview of what we're going to do. We're going to resolve horizontally, we're going to resolve vertically, and when we've done that, we're going to have 2 equations and we're going to eliminate t from those equations. So let's get our sketch. It's a pretty simple sketch in this case. We've just got A and B 120 meters apart, initial speed u and angle of elevation alpha. Now, first of all, you've only really got 2 tools available to you in a projectile question, and that's just resolving vertically and resolving horizontally. There's not an awful lot more you can do. So when we resolve horizontally, remember there's no component of acceleration due to gravity acting in the horizontal because gravity acts straight down. So we just have if speed is distance over time, then distance is equal to speed times time. So the distance is the velocity times time. So the horizontal component of the velocity is u cos alpha, and the distance we're given as 120 and the time is t. So we get an equation there. And remember, as I said, we're probably going to be eliminating t. So therefore, I've just rearranged that to make t the subject there. Now let's resolve vertically. And when we resolve vertically, in projectile questions, it's SUVAT because it's constant acceleration, it's motion under gravity. Okay, so what's our SUVAT when we resolve vertically? Well, let's just assume we're going to go for when the ball hits the ground again at B, it will have a displacement of 0. The vertical component is going to be u sine alpha of the velocity. We're not worried about how fast it's going when it hits the ground. If we resolve vertically, gravity is working against us when it's projected, so therefore minus g, and the time taken to hit the ground is t. So the appropriate SUVAT equation is going to be s equals ut at half at squared. So we can sub everything in now. It's going to hit the ground, so the displacement is 0. The u is the vertical component of velocity is u sine alpha. T is t, acceleration is minus 9.8, and t is t again there. Now we're just going to sub in this value of t that we got here from resolving horizontally to replace the 2 values there for t and t squared. So we're subbing in that rearranged version, the 120 over u cos alpha there. So that just gives us this expression here, because remember, we know that 120 over u cos alpha is t, and this is going to be 120 squared over u squared cos squared times by 4.9. And when you work that out, that is 70,560. Now this whole thing equals 0, so our next step is just to take it over the other side. So I'm now just going to take this over to the left-hand side, okay? And just do a bit of simplification with that. So I've taken that over to the left-hand side. So there we go now, and let's see what's going to cancel. Our u's cancel. I'm going to times everything by u squared cos squared. So I've now got u squared cos squared sine alpha times 120 is equal to 70,560, and that's all over cos alpha. The cos alpha is going to cancel with the squared. I'm going to divide both sides by 120, and that simplifies into u squared cos alpha sine alpha equals 588 as required. So really nice 6 marks there. Quite an advanced idea, when you've got these show that in projectile questions, but that's your usual approach, okay? Resolve vertically, resolve horizontally, get 2 equations, and very often eliminate t. Part B, the ball reaches a maximum height of 10 meters above the ground. Show that u squared is 1960. So that's implying that we should resolve vertically and use SUVAT again, and we're going to set the final velocity equal to 0. So we're now resolving vertically again. So we've got a displacement of 10. It reaches a maximum height of 10. The vertical component is u sine alpha. The final velocity is 0. Acceleration due to gravity is minus 9.8. And in a SUVAT, you can always get away without knowing one of them. So we don't need to know about the time this time. Okay, so we're going to use the SUVAT v squared equals u squared plus 2as. So the final velocity is 0 squared. The initial velocity is u sine alpha plus 2 times minus 9.8 times by the displacement, which is 10. So that gives us that u squared sine squared alpha is 196. Now, that's okay, except in order to solve this, we really need to know what alpha is. And this, I think, is the trickiest step. So there's two really difficult bits in this question. The bit in part A we've already been over, but I think this is now the trickiest bit here in part B. But it is the last question on a paper. So in order to proceed further, we've got to work out what alpha is. And in order to do that, we're going to need to use this equation and this equation that we got earlier in the question. And we're going to divide them by each other. Okay, so we're going to say that the u squared sine squared alpha divided by u squared cos alpha sine alpha is the same as 196 over 588. And the reason why that's useful is because when we divide those, the u's cancel and the one of the sines cancelled, and we're just left with sine alpha over cos alpha. So we get that tan alpha is a third. And that's really, really useful to us because over here we draw a little triangle. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So if that's a third, then we've got using Pythagoras, we can say that the hypotenuse is therefore root 10. It's the square root of 3 squared add 1 squared. So that means that we can say that in turn, this sine alpha is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, okay? So 1 over root 10. So that's enabled us to finish the question off now, because we now know that sine alpha is 1 over root 10. So u squared sine squared is u squared times 1 over root 10 squared equals 196. So that's u squared is 1 over times by 1 over 10 is 196. So therefore u squared is 1960 as required. So not easy, and the idea of dividing those two equations by each other was the key there, but I do think that's a little bit tricky. Last two little bits, a couple of modelling assumptions. It says in a refinement to the model, the effect of air resistance is now included. The motion of the ball from A to B is now modelled as that of a particle whose initial speed is v meters per second. In this refinement, this refined model is used to calculate a value for v. State which is greater, v or u, giving a reason for your answer. I'd sometimes think students in my experience, get a little bit confused about what the question's asking here. But what the question's asking is assuming that the particle, the ball, golf ball, has moved the same distance, okay? But it's now having to overcome air resistance. So if it's going to have moved the same distance from A to B, it's still moved 120 meters, then it would have to have been going slightly faster in the first place to cover the same distance because it's had to overcome the air resistance. So we can say that V is going to be greater than U because it needs to be bigger in order to go the same distance to have overcome the effects of the air resistance. So that's part C. And then finally, it says state one further refinement to the model that would make the model more realistic. We could take into account the spin on the ball. Okay, so taking into account spin on the ball would make the model more realistic. You could take into account the size of the ball, the physical dimensions of the ball, those kinds of things. So I think the physical dimensions of the ball and spin, both of those would be acceptable. Perfect. Well, I hope you found that helpful. Remember, if you're finding these questions useful, if you could make sure that you do like and subscribe to the channel, then that's going to really help me keep on making more videos moving forward. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.